Well, good morning. Well, welcome, and my name is Christy McCravey, and I am the Executive Director of the Louisville Affordable Housing Trust Fund. The Trust Fund, as you know, was created in 2008 by Metro Council ordinance, and though it has been a long time coming, we are excited to be here today to fulfill our mission in creating and preserving safe, affordable, quality housing in our community in a significant way. We all know that Louisville, like other metropolitan areas in our country, has suffered a severe shortage of affordable housing and is experiencing that now. Currently, more than 60,000 low-income families are paying more than their fair share for housing. By paying more, families are left with less money to spend on other goods and services, like food, clothing, and in some cases, unfortunately, even medicine, life-saving medicines. With our announcement today, we are paving the way for some families to see some financial relief. And let's not forget the economics and fiscal benefits of affordable housing. The ongoing production of affordable housing produces jobs and increases the community's payrolls. With increased jobs and construction comes increased tax rolls and fee income for municipalities like Louisville. And families have increased buying power, monies that are cycled back into the community for other goods and services. Once again, we all thrive when all portions of our community thrives. Before I make the announcement, I would like to thank Mayor Greg Fisher and members of Metro Council for providing a much-needed injection of capital. However, I would be remiss if I did not remind them that also in 2008, we all agreed that it would take $10 million a year to actually make a significant impact on our affordable housing needs. So let's commit to working together to get there, to that $10 million mark. I would also like to thank and recognize our board of directors, and if you're a member and you're here, just raise your hand or what have you, please. Our advocacy committee and our program committee. That program committee worked really hard in making decisions about these loans. So if you're a member of any of those committees, again, please raise your hands. Our advocacy committee worked hard to have hundreds of constituents go before Metro Council last year, and we've already started this year, to basically put a face to the data. Their faces and their stories are the reality behind the data and the statistics. We're not just talking numbers, folks. We're talking families, real people. In May of this year, our elected officials announced $2.5 million in funding for the trust fund. $2.25 million went into the development pool. $225,000 went into our operations and administration, and we are working to grow. $25,000 has been set aside for a supportive housing services grant pool that we will soon be announcing. Because of previous funding and project loan repayments, the trust fund board designated another $100,000 to increase the pool of capital to $2.35 million. The application window opened in October, and within 30 days, local developers submitted 12 applications seeking nearly $4 million of funding. The applications were reviewed and underwritten with the following priorities considered: community need and target population served, low cost per unit for the trust fund's dollars, the project's readiness to proceed, those projects that were aligning with other Louisville Metro priority areas, such as adaptive rehab and reuse of vacant and abandoned properties, developments in non-impacted areas, or I should say, and energy-efficient projects. Plus, last but not least, the availability of funding. So with that, all of the projects that were submitted to the trust fund were of merit. But based on the underwriting previously mentioned, 7 projects made the final cut. And they are, and as I mentioned your project, if you could step forward, please. $477,000 will go to the Chestnut Street Y, right here, for the rehab and preservation of 41 units of single-room occupancy housing, and we are in District 4. $125,000 to Habitat for Humanity. They will build and sell 5 homes on vacant lots in Council Districts 5, 15, and 16. And actually, as I announce your name, can you stand on this side to kind of balance us out a little bit, please? Janelle and Leah, please. $60,000 to River City Housing to rehab and sell 2 vacant homes in District 1. $641,114 to Backtrack Incorporated to rehab and preserve the old school apartments, 40 units of senior multifamily homes in District 15. A total of $546,886 to the Housing Partnership for 2 separate projects to acquire and rehab 22 single-family homes in the California, Russell, and Portland neighborhoods. And finally, $500,000 to LDG Multifamily LLC to provide the final layer of funding that will produce 216 affordable units on Gale House Lane near Billtown Road and the Gene Snyder Expressway. So with that, we have assisted, or we will be assisting in the creation or preservation of 326 affordable housing units that will be in our community. So now I'm just going to give you the opportunity to hear from our host, Mr. Steve Tarver, President and CEO of the YMCA, and I'd like to say that I have a particular interest, and I'm really happy that we were able to do this project. Just to give you a little information, this building, as you see, is historic. It needed a lot of work, and these units were in jeopardy of being lost to our community. So with this injection of funding, we did not lose 41 units of housing for single men that are on their way to self-sufficiency. Steve?
And good morning on behalf of the YMCA, our staff, our board of directors, and we're grateful to be here. I told Christy just a few minutes ago that she, along with her team, know how to make a Merry Christmas for a lot of people. And so we're very grateful for that. So at the Y, we have 3 core focus areas. They are youth development, healthy living, and social responsibility. And this is kind of under our umbrella of social responsibility, that we have maintained these 41 rooms of single-room occupancy men's housing for over 30 years. And really, it's rooted in finding the opportunity for them to seek economic and housing stability and self-sufficiency, but also the dignity and the idea of getting a productive place in our community. And we think that that's very important. And So you heard about the 60,000 households, and you heard about what some of the barriers that come with the unavailability of affordable housing. And I would add to that mix that a lot of our work is in the area of health and health equity. So this is not just a housing issue. This is an overall issue of equity and bringing health. And when we talk about health in that arena, it's not just not being sick, or it's not just fitness and treadmills. It is people's opportunity to achieve their greatest health potential spiritually, mentally, physically, and emotionally. So we're proud to be part of that movement in Louisville as well. And as Christy mentioned, this is a historic building. It's just over 100 years old. It was dedicated about 102 years ago on the day before Thanksgiving. We were able to recreate the exact photograph on the exact time, place, and date 100 years later after the building was built. And on your way out, if you look on the lobby, as you exit toward Chestnut Street, on your left-hand wall there is a picture of two pictures that were exactly 100 years apart. So we're proud to be part of that. But the other thing is that if these walls could talk, the amazing stories that they could tell you in terms of youth programs that take place still here very regularly with our Black Achievers program. They could talk to you about the racial reconciliation movement during the desegregation movement here in Louisville. And they could talk to you about trainings for staff, and they could talk to you about weddings that have occurred here. So again, it's such an honor for us to be a part of this. And so this is, we said, transitional housing for men. So we turn over about 12 of the 41 every year into permanent, sustainable, self-sufficient housing. So that allows us to continue that pipeline, if you will, of opportunities for people to achieve their greatest sense of citizenship and self-sufficiency. And you might also be aware that we also have a preschool care center here. So literally and figuratively, in this building, we have the blessing and the obligation and the opportunity for us to work with people literally from cradle to career. And if you'd like it, if you're not having a good day when you leave here, we're having a great day here. But if you need a little help, then let us know. We've got a number of staff here that could take you into our preschool center, and I promise you will leave here happy. And it's our privilege. So in any case, obviously we're aware of the great work that's been done by the Choice neighborhood and the big announcement that was occurred last week in that. So we're honored to be part of that as well. And then the other thing that I would say, and just a little personal reflection on this on behalf of the YMCA. About 10 years ago, there was a time when we were challenging whether or not the YMCA should stay in this business of serving transitional men who needed housing. And so we talked to some of our partners. We talked to the Louisville Homeless Coalition and our good friend Natalie Harris, and they said that these 41 rooms were important to that. And I didn't know this. They represent 3% of the affordable housing in the Louisville region. And so we recommitted to that. And of course, we now have our secret weapon, Leah Mullaney, who you met earlier, who's taken us to that and was the facilitator of our request in for this fund. So she brings, in spite of her nice, warm, soft demeanor, she brings a fierce commitment to improving the lives of the people that share part of their life journey with us at the YMCA. We're honored by all that. So we're certainly grateful for the support from Christy McCravey and her board of directors with the Louisville Affordable Housing Trust Fund. Obviously, our great friend Mayor Fisher, Louisville Metro Government, Bill Hollander, who I understand pushed this forward from the city council standpoint, and of course we welcome Barbara Sexton Smith here with us as well as the incoming council person for our district. So hopefully you'll visit here frequently, and you're always welcome. So we also have an opportunity, should you have any technical questions about the scope of work is still evolving, and right now but it has got some teeth to it. David Hollabaugh, who is our contractor and is doing the exterior work, so now he'll be able to find a place for some of his people to get warm in the next few months. But David is here and a great friend as well to answer any technical questions that you might have. So again, we're humbled and we're inspired by this investment. We appreciate the affirmation of our work here that comes with this, and we certainly want to continue this work with some new digs. So anyway, thanks all of you for being here. It's our honor to be part of it.
Thank you, Steve. And now I bring to you someone that needs no introduction, but our Mayor, Greg Fisher.
Good morning, everybody. Good to see you here on this cold holiday day here. I want to recognize a few folks. We did recognize our councilwoman-elect here, Barbara Sexton-Smith. It's tough when you're in a councilwoman-elect position for 6 months, so we're looking forward to working with you. Marilyn Wiederwall is back here. She runs Louisville Forward, which is over Louisville Develop, which is our whole built environment strategy as well. And then Gina Dunlap is directing our Office for Redevelopment Strategies and is doing a great job for the city as well. So there are a few of the other players that we have here as well. And Gabe is with her standing as well. So thank you. So we know, look, for people to flourish, one of their most basic needs needs to be met, and that is housing. We've been talking about it in the community for a long period of time. It was especially difficult when the Affordable Housing Trust Fund was put together. The country then went into a deep recession, and obviously we're pulling out of that. So as we've pulled out of that as a city, we've made it a priority to begin investing in affordable housing in ways that the city has not done before, in ways certainly I hope the city can continue to do. In 2015, we made a $12 million commitment, and by we, I mean us, the citizens of Louisville, through the budget we recommend to the council and that they approve. That was a program called Louisville Cares, and it's the biggest commitment to affordable housing in our city's history. That investment is helping to create or preserve 1,500 affordable housing units specifically designed to provide workforce housing for working families. And so today, I'm very glad to continue that effort and talk more about the resources that are being dedicated through the Louisville Affordable Housing Trust Fund that we've been hearing about to residents who lack the housing they need in order to reach their full human potential. And much like Steve was talking about, health is required to meet someone's full human potential, housing it as well, and that's how we both define compassion here in our city. We all know that too many families are devoting too much of their monthly income to keep a roof over their heads, and oftentimes that is a decision between a roof over their head or medicine in their cabinet or shoes for their baby's feet, and I don't think any of us are proud to live in a country or a city that has that quandary, but the fact is it's all over our country. So the funds being distributed today by the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, whose work aligns with our Office for Housing and Community Development, will give families better options and better answers to questions like how are we going to get through the month. And these funds are going to help families all across the city, as you heard from the recipients here, from Portland to Shively to Fern Creek and beyond. So it's important to us that we have geographical spread on this. And while this is something to celebrate here today, we all have to acknowledge, and Christy, I agree with you, that we have more work to do. The Louisville Cares program has committed nearly $10 million to over 365 units across our community, and the city's staff in the Office of Housing and Community Development works every day to provide housing resources to residents in our city as well. And then we also work very closely with the Louisville Metro Housing Authority. Last Monday was a huge announcement for the city, a $29.5 million Choice Neighborhood Grant that will lever up to over $200 million to remake Russell neighborhood into a mixed income, mixed use, multi-generational housing facility. So we want to thank the Department of Housing and Urban Development for that again. But also, that would not have happened were it not for the residents of Russell. There were over 80 community meetings hearing from the residents on what the new Russell would look like. That was really without that level of involvement, the HUD grant would not have happened, nor would have happened without the high esteem that the housing authorities held in by HUD, nor would it have happened without the work of Louisville Metro government working to demonstrate what a city housing authority partnership looks like. And that's what HUD was looking like in this grant. So that's a big deal for us, and it's going to be one of the largest investments in West Louisville in the history of our city. So with that, we're going to be able to provide more housing options here in Russell. Steve talked about how that's such a big part of kind of the overall strategy of the neighborhood, and certainly the YMCA located here as well. I want to thank the council who focused on the city's housing needs in these last two budgets and helped us pass these funds that we've talked about. But I want to particularly thank Councilman Bill Hollander over here. Bill is in his second year in his first term of, I hope you serve a lot of terms. But Bill has came into office with a focus on affordable housing, and he has been steadfast in that commitment and focus as well, and he's just a great advocate and friend of the city. So you've done a great job, Councilman. I appreciate working with you. Great job. And just last, thanking all the other partners that we have in this effort, Steve Tarver and the Y, and Freddie, thank you. Habitat for Humanity, who does good work all the time. All these folks do. River City Housing, same thing. Backtrack, LDG Multifamily, who's having more and more of a presence in our community on top of their national body of work, which is very impressive, and the Housing Partnership as well. You all have been in this work for a long period of time, locally and nationally, and we appreciate you all really helping us push this forward to the next level. So good job to you guys. All right.
So you heard the name Bill Hollander. He has only been on the council for a short time. He is also our designated representative from Metro Council on our board of directors. Who could ask for a better advocate for affordable housing? So I am going to introduce to you Bill Hollander, and we are just so happy to have him on our board. He gets it. We don't have to do a lot of explaining. If he doesn't get it, he will ask, and he has the passion to push this forward. So Bill, come on up, please.
Thank you very much. Recognize Councilwoman-elect Barbara Sexton-Smith. I also see in the crowd Chris Kolb, who is a Jefferson County School Board member-elect, and who I know knows that in order to educate children, they have to have good, safe, decent places to live. Earlier this month, the mayor's chief of community building told Metro Council that the root of many of our problems is a feeling by some people that they are hurt, hungry, and out of options. One of the options that too many people lack is a safe and decent and affordable place to live. We've long known that Louisville needs more affordable housing units. The thousands of people on long waiting lists worry about paying the rent while also paying the medical bills, putting food on the table, and equipping their children as they go to school. This year, the Affordable Housing Trust Fund received its first substantial appropriation of local funds to help those people. The fund received 25 times more funding for housing this year than in the last 8 years combined. And that comes on top of the Louisville Cares program that the mayor spoke about. Today, we celebrate putting that money to good use with projects that help seniors, working families, and the homeless. We will help build and preserve all kinds of housing, single-family homes, apartments, and single occupancy rooms like those here at the Y, in projects in multiple Metro Council districts across Louisville Metro. The trust fund's experience this year proves, and I think this is very important, it proves that there are good projects waiting to be built if the funds are available. There's a need, and now we've shown there is the capacity to fill it. There are many people to thank today. Mayor Fisher for recommending these funds and being an affordable housing advocate. My council colleagues for unanimously approving them. The trust fund board and committee members who worked tirelessly to set criteria, review applications, and make funding decisions in less than 6 months. And I especially want to thank housing advocates. Many of them are sitting here in the front of the room. Metro Council hears from many public speakers. None are more compelling than those who bravely remind us that a safe, decent place to live is a foundation for options and a hopeful life. Young people just starting out, working families struggling to raise children, seniors in the twilight of life, all of them have talked to us about how housing needs are critical for them. Today, we are helping with 326 affordable units, thanks to all of you. And we resolve to continue to work for the thousands more who need a safe, decent, and affordable place to live. Thank you all very much.
So once again, we are celebrating today, but again, as our mayor said, we need to remember that there is still work to do. So while we celebrate, let's not get too comfortable. While we celebrate, we need to continue to work. Just one of the visuals, LDG brought a rendering of their new project. It will be the biggest project that we assist in. So this is just a rendering or a sample of what will occur with the funds that we have been so graciously awarded, and now we are awarding to them. So thank you for coming again on this very cold day, and I look forward to working with each and every one of you in helping to promote the needs, the projects, and whatever you want to discuss about affordable housing. And one more thing. If you did not have a chance to get a copy of the State of Metropolitan Housing Report that was released last week by Kathy Hinkle, she's in the audience, from the Metropolitan Housing Coalition, please get it. That is one of the single most documents that is used by me, and I'm sure all of my colleagues here, to understand what is going on in our community with housing. And she's got some new maps and new data in there. And good news some, but a lot of news in just pointing out how much work there is yet to be done. So thank you again. Have a great day. Let's celebrate, but let's keep on the bandwagon. Thank you.